freedom of speech, free exercise of religion, and the right to peacefully assemble. These are all inalienable rights granted to us under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Yet it is argued that these rights are not being equally executed among the public school system. In my eyes, I see that these limitations are beneficial to the greater good of the students in the public school systems. Good afternoon. My name is Madison Harris, and I have broken down the question, how are the limitations of students' rights an illustration of the First Amendment in U.S. public schools? Across the U.S., we have seen litigations that have contradicted students' First Amendment rights over the years. But in reality, these limitations were put in place to create a safe and healthy school environment that prevents possible social problems and paves the way for the future of students. It is evident that the rights and laws put into place by the U.S. government were established to create a fair opportunity for all citizens of the United States. The First Amendment states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right to peacefully assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. These virtues are inviolable. Even though public schools still create rules that limit the rights of students through other restrictions such as time, place, and manner regulations. Time restrictions regulate when it is appropriate to express yourself. Place restrictions regulate where it is appropriate to express yourself, and manner restrictions regulate the mode of individual expression. When determining if these time, place, and manner restrictions are constitutional, you must ask yourself if they are content neutral, if they are narrowly tailored to serve a government interest, and if they leave open alternate means of expression. These time, place, and manner restrictions may seem like they are denying you of your undeniable freedoms, but in reality they are just creating rules that that prevent social problems in the future, such as harassment, bullying, and stereotyping. One problem that occurs among public schools is the issue with dress code. In this diagram, you can see that 56%, which is the majority of this diagram, their reason against dress code is that it restricts self-expression, but we know that there are many other alternate ways of self-expression, such as joining clubs and participating in activities that you are interested in. Dress code, we know, wasn't created to restrict your self-expression. It was more created to create a healthy atmosphere for students and help them reach the best education that they can. We have seen problems among the school board and among students as early as 1965 in cases such as the Tinker v. Des Moines case. Students decided to wear black armbands to advocate for a truce in the Vietnam War, but they got suspended. They got suspended because the school decided that this was a distraction among the students. The U.S. government ruled that this was unconstitutional, and the students had no penalty for their actions. Another case that stood out to me was the Santa Fe Independent School District versus Jane Doe in 2011 regarding religious prayer. Before each home game, the students were encouraged to participate in religious activities, even though they all didn't share the same religion. The Constitution demands that schools not enforce on students a difficult choice between attending these games and avoiding personally offensive religious rituals. Both of these court cases proficiently illustrated how the First Amendment is illustrated in public schools by the outcome illustrating what was fair among the students, and it illustrated their First Amendment rights. In conclusion, regarding the question I evaluated, I decided that public schools evaluate students' First Amendment rights in a way that creates a safe and healthy environment among the students. Students already abuse some of their First Amendment rights by justifying their poor actions with a First Amendment right. So if we take away these distinct guidelines that were put into place, there would be chaos among the student body and among the students. As Benjamin Franklin once said, without freedom of thought, there could be no such thing as wisdom, and no such thing as public liberty without freedom of speech. What questions do you have? Thank you.
Nice. All right, I have 2 questions for you. First question, how did you select the strategies that you were going to use to gather information and conduct research?
I started off my presentation doing the opposite of the opposite viewpoint that I was doing, and after going through everything, all of the sources that I found, I realized that I had way more information to argue for the schools instead of against the schools. So that's how I chose what I was going to do.
Okay, and next question, if you had more time, what additional research would you conduct related to this?
If I had more time, I would have probably compared the different court cases, because I used 2 court cases that showed how the government sided with the student instead of the school. So I feel like it would have been good if I would have compared the ones that didn't side with the students and sided with the school, and how they represented it equally as much.
All right, thank you. You're done.